Eritrean government has made a dangerous promise with the TPLF, with Tigray's ruling elite. Welcome to my views and news. Thanks for watching the channel. Good to be with you. Exclusive information for you about the TPLF PFDJ engagement, EDF TDF engagement, which is not a secret now, though TPLF and Tigray military officers say they are not in contact with Eritrea, but even a layman can see that they are in contact at the highest level. That is why we are seeing TPLF's silence about uh, alleged Eritrean human rights abuses, alleged Eritrean military presence in Tigray. Eritrea, Eritrean Information Ministry used to issue statements after every few days criticizing TPLF, calling it the cancer in the Horn of Africa and main source of instability in the Horn of Africa. Did you see any such statement in the last few weeks? Nothing said by Eritrean government recently. So all signs are there that they are in contact. They have agreed on some points which they are committed to. But one promise which is being made by the Eritrean ruling elite with the Tigray ruling elite is very dangerous. I received information about it. I thought of sharing it with you. The two sides have held several meetings, political level discussions, military level discussions. They held discussions to form a strategic alliance too, which perhaps cannot be formed in a few days or weeks or months, keeping in view their long, troubled history. One of the points raised by Tigray's side in its engagements with the other side was the independence of Tigray. If Tigray announces independence, what will be Eritrean government's position? Uh, the response which the Eritrean government gave is a sort of promise. To analyze this response, which was given by some Eritrean government officials in their meetings with counterparts from Tigray. Interestingly, the Eritrean side said, it's up to you to decide. If you want to be a country, if you want to announce independence, we will recognize you as a country and will try our best to support you in your effort for recognition. We have allies in the Horn of Africa, in Africa. We can play a role, but it's up to you to decide. It's a very dangerous promise. Why did Eritrean government give this promise, make this promise to the Tigray side that Eritrea will recognize Tigray's independence as a country? There are two main reasons. I discussed that with some people close to the developments. They said there are two main reasons. Firstly, Eritrea believes that independence of Tigray, if it is announced by Tigray government, will never materialize. If today Tigray announces, TPLF, Tigray military announced that Tigray is a country, it will lead to immediate breakout of war between federal government and Tigray forces. Federal government will mobilize its forces towards Tigray, and that will be the start of a war, another war in Ethiopia. Well, government will not just sit letting Tigray ruling elite work for recognition. Well, government will impose or enforce rather its authority in Tigray by mobilizing its forces. War will break out. Perhaps this is what Eritrea wants. Sasavaki knows the region very well. Second possibility, suppose that somehow Tigray gets an upper hand and it manages to announce independence and it keeps federal forces out of its territories. Even then, it won't be uh, damaging for Eritrea. Breakup of Ethiopia will start. If Tigray turns into a country, other regional states will also call for similar independence. They will also independence. Ethiopia will start fragmenting. Ethiopia will be weakened. A larger, bigger rival, which some call enemy for Eritrea, which is Ethiopia, will turn into pieces, will split into pieces. And none of these pieces will be able to confront Eritrea. And Tigray could, if it turns into a country, it could serve as a sort of buffer zone between the Ethiopian government and the Eritrean government. Though Ethiopia-Eritrea border is not just in Tigray, it is in Afar too, but this buffer zone of Tigray between Eritrea will be helpful for Eritrea, not dangerous for Eritrea. Tigray won't be able to challenge Eritrea, rather it will have to rely either on Eritrean ports or on Sudanese ports. And that can only happen if Tigray gets Volkite. If it does not get Volkite, it will always remain reliant on Eritrean ports. It will never be able to really confront the Eritrean government. It will always be submissive to Eritrea. It will have to toe the line of the Eritrean government. So independence of Tigray is not going to be damaging for Eritrea. This is what internal discussions concluded in Eritrea. And that is why they promised that they will back the independence of Tigray. But Tigray needs to be very careful. People, ruling elite, TPLF, Tigray military should be very careful. Promises of recognition by Eritrea should not be taken seriously by Tigray People Liberation Front, Tigray Defense Force. Ideally, Eritrea would like fragmentation of Ethiopia. This is what Eritreans have been predicting. This was Asavok is predicting as well. So if Tigray secedes, it will be it will lead to a situation in which stronger Eritrea will emerge in the Horn of Africa, and no Ethiopian entity or Ethiopian regional state will be able to counter Eritrea alone. TPLF Tigray military should have a working relationship with Eritrea. I have been supporting that. The last 2 years, 3 years, I've been calling for engagements between TPLF and PFP. I was the first one, I remember. Before Pretoria, after Pretoria, I was the only one who was saying that there should be engagement between TPLF and PFDJ. If you remember, back then, these TPLF lawlists would call me anti-Tigray. They would say, Sajid, you have no regard for the human lives lost in this war. Our women were raped. We lost 500,000 people, and you want us to engage Eritrea? Are you insane? You're not human. I faced this type of criticism. But back then, I was promoting dialogue because neighbors cannot be changed. You cannot change your neighbors. There should be healthy working relationship between Tigray and Eritrea. Still, I maintain that position. But Tigray People Liberation Fund, Tigray Defense Force should not allow itself to be used by any country. It should not dream of fragmentation of Ethiopia. Fragmentation of Ethiopia will be devastating for everyone. Thanks for watching.